In this video, I go over my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day, August 11, 2021. What is going on, guys? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. This is the show where I break down my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day. This time it is for August 11th, 2021. Can't believe we are really getting towards the back end of summer here already. But, as time is flying by, it's been a great summer so far. If you guys missed, I was just over at my first big Comic-Con back, Terrificon, that just passed last weekend, this weekend as you guys are watching right now. And it was just awesome getting to meet the community. If you guys missed that recap video I did, check it out. I'll put the link in the description. But it was a lot of fun, met a ton of people from the community, and it was so cool. So wanted to just give you a heads up on that. And of course, if you're new here, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And this is the list that I go over where I talk about my top 10 books that I'm interested in for next week, for New Comic Book Day. There's no speculation or anything like that. These are just either stories I've been really enjoying, stories that are new issue number ones that I'm excited for. I'm really into the indie stuff right now, so we'll see how many of those indies make the actual list this time around. But before I get into all that, I do want to just give another community shout out, and I realized I missed last week, so want to make sure I do it again. I want to do it for this week, and so my community shout out for this week is going to be my good friend Copy 801. And if you guys do not follow Copy, or if you don't know him, I highly recommend reaching out to him on both YouTube and over on Instagram. He has his own show over on YouTube. He's always part of other people's channels. He's always supporting other people's channels, and truly just a selfless guy when it comes to the community. So Copy, appreciate you, brother, everything that you're doing for this community. Love all the content that you put out there. And Copy, by the way, was another person who I was able to meet up with this past weekend at Terrificon. And I have to say, Copy's a pretty tall guy. Well, either that or I'm a short guy. But either way, really nice guy, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with him at Terrificon. So, if you guys are not subbed up to Copy, his information is in the description below. Follow him over on YouTube and Instagram and reach out, as he is a wealth of knowledge, especially the DC stuff. So there's my shout out of the week. Let's get into the books here. And the first book I'm going to kick this whole thing off with is a Batman book. It is I Am Batman issue 0. This is where I know they've been coming out with the next Batman, Second Son, they're calling it. It's Jace Fox. Well, I actually have not been following that series, but this is launching a whole new series now based off that, so I'm kind of curious. I'm going to check it out. It's number 10 on my list, so, just to give you some perspective of where it lands. So I'm going to give it a go. Let's see, the artist here and the writer is John Ridley. Artist is Trevor Foreman. Not as familiar with that name, actually. The artwork looks interesting. Very modern-like. But, so I'm going to give this a go. This is just my number 10 pick on the week. I Am Batman, issue 0. Next up on my number 9 pick of the week, let's go with this issue number 1 book right here, Chavez, the Dragon Incident, number 1. I just was scrolling through looking for some new books here, and this one happened to come on. You can see the cover here. It's this guy with a bat, and he's what looks to be taking on this massive dragon. And I was reading just a little bit here. It's written by James Patrick, artwork by Marco Licati. And it talks about this guy, Sonny. Sonny Campisi is a small-time fixer for the mob-controlled neighborhood of Green Village. If you don't pay your gambling debt, he'll come and collect. If you get a little rough with one of the girls, he gets a little rough with you. But when a dragon flies into town, and Sonny is Sonny is the one who's tasked with getting rid of it, it's a problem unlike he's ever faced before. But it says a chain of events happen that begin to affect everyone who lives in the neighborhood, especially Sonny. Just sounds like a wild ride. It's an issue number 1. Let's see, of course, I didn't even notice this before, but it's Aftershock. So of course I'm going to give it a shot. I'm always willing to give Aftershock issue number 1 a shot. They have not let me down yet. So I'm all on board to try this out. Really nice looking cover here. So we'll see how the interior artwork is when we get to it, but definitely going to keep an eye out for that. That is my number 9 pick on the week, Chavez, the Dragon Incident, issue number 1. Let's see, going into my number 8 pick, I'm going to go with this Clans of Bellari, I think. Issue number 2. So this is, again, another Aftershock book. I enjoyed the first one enough to where I'm curious where it goes. It's basically about these different clans that have been separated all through different planets, and each clan has their own responsibilities to put forward and help contribute to the lives of everybody else. But there's some like secrets to it that like there's a lot more shadier things going on in the background than what people see at first. And it really revolves around this one girl who was rescued by this one traveler, this one guy who was delivering some goods, and almost left her for dead, and he felt bad. He went back and he got her, brought her with her, and then he ended up like adopting her and taking care of her. And issue 1 kind of takes place where she's now grown up. It's now her time, her responsibility to step into one of the clans that they're part of and really contribute. And she wants to kind of rebel, and she doesn't quite understand why they're not allowed to pick and choose what they do. It's almost like Hunger Games, how they're all like divided, the different towns or the whatever you call those locations in Hunger Games, and they all have their own jobs or things that they take care of and contribute to. And then of course there's like someone in charge essentially, and so there's a little bit of a rebel going on with this girl here. So anyways, I like the first issue, and so I'm going to give it a shot. It is Robert Blackie doing the writing along with Peter Blackie, and the artwork by Daniel Main. So I liked all of it for issue 1, so I'm going to continue to give that a shot. So that's my number 8 pick on the week. I have to say, from here, all the books are very close. They easily could be mixed anywhere from this is 7 now all the way down to like book 3, I think, and then the last 2 kind of separate themselves. But so I'm just gonna go in the order that I kind of put them in, and you guys can decide or let me know what you think in the comment section below. My number 7 pick of the week is gonna go to Fight Girls issue number 2. This is Frank Cho, Sabine Rich doing the artwork. And man, I really, really enjoyed this first issue. This was, speaking of Hunger Games, this was kind of like Hunger Games meets Jurassic Park. I think that was my description after I read it the first time around. And it was really cool. It's basically about the idea of the Queen of the Galaxy title is up for grabs. And it takes place in the future. And that basically there's these 10 women who are battling for to become the victor and claim being the queen now and take control of the planet. And the way that they do that, they have all these different obstacles and challenges that they have to go through. And there's these 10 women. They're all very fit and very tough in their own way, or they all have something different about them that you can kind of start telling the difference between each of them. I will say, if there was any weakness to the first book, it was the fact that it was a little harder to know who the characters were or get too close to the characters. I'm hoping that in issue 2 we get a little bit more in depth of who each of these girls are and what they're about. And also there's some behind the scenes stuff going on, kind of like what I was mentioning with the last book. But the reason I mentioned Jurassic Park is because the first issue takes place where they are all set in the jungle. So it's very futuristic, very much like Hunger Games, where there's like this platform that brings them all into this jungle. They're then released, and there's all these little cameras that follow them around and film as the girls all split up and go in different directions. Some of the girls like work together, others stab each other in the back. So it's kind of like all for yourself kind of deal. So it's like, do you want to work together? Are you supposed to do it on your own? How do you want to go about it? So, but this one takes place with like dinosaurs and animals going and trying to attack them and all these different things. And it's essentially like a race. So they just completed round 1. So I don't know if issue 2 is going to continue to be in this Jurassic World type of environment, or if it's going to change up completely and be something else. But the unique thing too about this is there's like, you can read or hear, while you're reading these dialogues, you can see that there are people manning these cameras and saying, camera two, zoom in, check out this battle over here. So there are clearly people watching and people in the outside world that are like rooting for certain people. So very much, Hunger Games / Jurassic Park. So anyways, Frank Cho, Sabine Rich, great team right here. Fight Girls issue number 2. That's going to be my number 7 pick of the week. Let's jump into number 6 here. And this is a book that I literally read the title and I saw who the writer was. And I said, I'm putting this on my list before even looking into anything else. It's called The Unbelievable Unteens, issue number 1. And yes, it is written by Jeff Lemire. Maybe it should be top 5. I don't know. Like I said, these few here could easily go back or forth. So this is my number 6 pick of the week. I just saw Jeff Lemire's name. That's all it took for me to be down. But I will read you a little clip here. It says, after signing at a comic book convention, unbelievable unteens artist Jane Ito finds herself visited by one of the characters from her own creation. But was it her own creation? Well, they don't know. It says, were the unteens an actual school of teenage misfits superheroes who battled supervillains under the lead of the mysterious Dr. Miles moniker? And if so, who wiped out their memories and why? Jane's world is turned upside down as she learns the true nature of her identity, and she discovers the sinister plot leading her to assemble a team she had suspected was purely fictional. So seems like a really interesting kind of twist of a book. And again, it's Jeff Lemire. Sign me up for anything that Jeff Lemire does. It's a Dark Horse book. I don't buy many Dark Horse books, but I feel like recently Dark Horse has been putting out some good teams of individuals, creators that are putting out some books like this. And, I think this is kind of falls under the horror type vibe. It looks like it, at least from this cover. And if you've been following my content at all, you know that apparently now I am more and more a horror guy. Every time I do these videos, I'm realizing how much more I lean towards these scary type of books. So I'm looking forward to it. So that's my number 6 pick of the week, The Unbelievable Unteens, issue number 1. All right, halfway through the list, I'm going to go with Ordinary Gods, issue number 2. This was a book by Kyle Higgins, who is also doing Radiant Black, which has been a really great series as well. So Ordinary Gods, this is only issue number 2. It is really interesting concept. I talked a lot about it when it had first come out. And it's kind of surprised we're just getting the second issue now. Felipe Watanabe doing the artwork, which I also really enjoyed. But it is essentially about these gods who have been punished. I think there was like 13 gods, and like 5 of them were trying to overthrow like the one leader of all of the gods because he was very war hungry. And in turn, they developed this thing to basically, because you can't kill a god, you can only trap them. So they developed this trap. But then he gets a hold of it and ends up using it on them. So now these 5 gods are trapped on planet Earth, and that's the trap. And so they're living life like cycled over and over again, and they grow up and become these different people in the world, and they're like this, they're trying to figure out a way to get out of this whole situation. So last issue was just a big shocker. I remember the ending was like wild, and it was really well done. So I won't get into details other than that, but I'll leave it at that for now. But Ordinary Gods was really good. Issue number 1 I really enjoyed. I will continue to read this book, and that is why it's my number 5 pick on the week. So Ordinary Gods issue number 2, definitely recommend that one. All right, getting down to number 4. I have Buddy Mask issue number 3 is another Aftershock book. I think this is like my 3rd or 4th Aftershock book on this list. So you guys kind of get the hint as to how I feel if you didn't know me already. Paul Tobin doing the writing for this. Andrea Muti doing the artwork. Andrea Muti, he's the one that also did Maniac of New York. I know he's done a bunch of others that I'm following right now too, but Maniac of New York was one of the first ones that I was introduced to his type of artwork and style, and I really, really love it, especially for these horror type of books, which again, leaning towards the scary stuff. So this is a super creepy book. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how I can even really explain it. Buddy Mask, I thought it was going to be something silly. Just the name of it sounds, very weird, and I didn't think it'd be something for me. But issue 1 certainly freaked me out enough to where I'm like, all right, I'm all in. Like, I want to keep reading this. I want to check it out. The artwork also had me hooked. So, basically about this mysterious creature person thing. I don't know how to put it. That is known as Bunny Mask. And it is like this girl that wears a mask, but she has these powers, and she randomly shows up and she speaks in tongues and all this crazy stuff. Basically, like, I can't really tell if she's like good or bad. It seems like she's good, and she like punishes those that are bad, but it's in a really creepy, dark way. So, but basically about this character cop who who initially went to go save this girl from her dad who went crazy in the first issue. And the dad ends up like shooting the cop's partner, taking the cop down into this cave and making them like dig and try to take, I don't even remember. The cave was just like, it was a very freaky scene. And that's where Buddy Mask first shows up and essentially does some gruesome things. This book is certainly not for kids. And then it kind of like they get rescued, and then the rest of the book kind of takes place in the future, where the cop's older now, the little girl has grown up, and they've now run into each other again, and they kind of pick up where they left off in terms of like where does their relationship stand, and what like they start sharing a lot of different things. The girl, she's been like basically haunted by that event ever since she was little, and so she's now an artist who creates these masks. Bunny mask, but they've never like seen this bunny mask person in person before. It's crazy. Even me trying to explain it right now, just it all sounds madness. But anyways, I recommend this read, Bunny Mask. If it's not too late, it's only on issue 3. So if you haven't started it, go back to issue 1 and check it out. It is well worth it. That's why it's my number 4 pick here. It could easily be up there, and is one of these next 3 coming up. But really enjoying it and want to see where it goes from here. So that's going to be my number 4 pick on the week, Bunny Mask, issue number 3. Let's see, going down to my pick number 3, I'm going to go with Eve, issue number 4. And this is a Boom Studio book that I've been in love with. I've been like, each and every issue I feel like is getting better and better. And I also have to say it's getting more and more on the adult side. When I first read this book, I thought it was kind of like for kids, but I don't think it's for kids. I think we're at that point now where I don't think that this title's for kids. It's definitely a lot more violent, and it also leads to like your imagination to take over on what essentially would happen in certain scenes that are potentially violent. Let's just put it that way. But the writer here, Victor Lavelle and Joe Mignon doing the artwork, really enjoying this whole thing. Issue 4, let's see. I won't get into the details, but basically it takes place in this like futuristic world where this girl thinks that, she knows like her life. She's only like 11 years old, but she ends up like finding out the truth about real life, where she ends up like waking up and realizing that she was asleep for like 11 years. And it's kind of like The Matrix. I say this every time when I talk about Eve, but it really reminds me of The Matrix. And then she wakes up in this world that is like filled with like disease and people who have died from this one particular disease where you get so hungry that you start eating anything and everything, and you can't help it, and people like kill people over it, or you kill yourself because you eat things that you're like not supposed to eat. So it's really interesting. So it's about this little girl who's basically set out to rescue her father, who had initially helped set up this whole thing, and is right now in like some future, some in space type machine of some sort, but she's set to rescue him, and then she's also set to fix the world. So it's a really interesting type of journey that she's on here. So I do recommend Eve if you guys are not reading it. Again, that's a book. It's only issue 4. Not a bad time to kind of catch up. Take some time to catch up, or if you want to wait till like issue 5 or whenever this first story arc ends, you can get the trade for that. But I believe this is ongoing. I hope it's ongoing. And I got to mention Wexler. Wexler's the teddy bear that essentially is her bodyguard, and is like this robotic killer. It's pretty wild. But anyway, so that's going to be my number 3 pick. It's Boom Studios' Eve, issue number 4. Let's see. Going down to my final 2 here. This was tough. This was really tough. I'm looking at the 2 right now, and I think I might swap them, actually. It is that tough. All right, this is what I'm going to go with. My number 2 pick is going to be The Joker, issue number 6 from DC. Wow, this book is it's so good. It is really good. I know last issue was a little bit more on the filler side of things, but even that was great because it just gave you a perspective of like understanding just how powerful Joker's mind tricks are and what they can do to an individual. And this individual focusing on Jim Gordon, and really how much the Joker has gotten in his head from day 1 of them meeting. It was more of a flashback issue before we return to like this whole thing. So, essentially the Joker went missing. He's down in, I think, Brazil or somewhere down south. And Jim Gordon is offered a lot of money to essentially kill the Joker. So he set out on this mission to do so, using some resources of Batman's, but without Batman knowing that his real goal is to actually kill him. Batman thinks that like Jim Gordon's going to just bring him in and, you know, have him be put back in prison, you know, for some of the past things that Joker has recently done in some of the Batman series and stuff like that. But you kind of come to find out that there's some truths behind some things that are setting Joker up, and the Joker and Jim, they meet at one point, but there's a lot of other players involved as well. Of course, I feel like there always are when it comes to a guy like Joker, but there's a lot of other players involved that are also trying to kill Joker, not just Jim. So Jim's kind of in the middle of this whole war. So I'm going to leave it at that, but Joker has been really, really just a fantastic read. It's another book by James Tynion, who's just been killing it. Everything he puts out is amazing. I see here, they actually have, Guillaume Marc is doing the artwork. They also have listed as Sweeney Boo doing some of the art, and they have Sam Johns as partially the writer here. And I wonder if maybe that has to do with the Punchline story in the background. I'm not quite sure now. But either way, so yeah, and that's the other thing too with these books, is that there's like this secondary Punchline story that's been going on, which I think's also been pretty good. So overall, Joker is my number 2. Easily could be my number 1. It is very close between these two, the one I haven't mentioned yet. But that's going to be my number 2 pick. Joker, issue number 6. Definitely recommend picking it up if you guys have not been reading it. It's really good. So before I get into number 1, just want to say thanks to everybody here in the premiere chat right now. If you guys don't know, I have these premiered every Thursday at 12:30 Eastern. So you can jump into the I guess premiere live chat. I'm usually there, and usually it's a good group of people hanging out and just talking in the chat while this is streaming. So for those of you who are here right now, I do appreciate you taking that time. As always, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I do appreciate it. And of course, I always like to mention, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this list, if you agree with it, if you think I'm missing something. You know, I'm always looking to hear recommendations, or if I just missed something altogether, let me know about that too. I will clarify that there are some other great books that are out that are just not on this list simply because I've decided to read in trade. I always like to clarify that. Like, I know there's a new issue of Daredevil that comes out August 11th, and that's just not on this list because I've been reading it on a much slower pace, and trying to read it in sets of trade paperbacks. So it's a tremendous series, but if I was reading issue by issue, I'm sure Daredevil should be right up here on this list as well, because Chip Zdarsky's been doing just a tremendous job. So I'm gonna get into my number 1 pick, but again, appreciate everybody who takes the time to watch these. I really do. My number 1 pick is gonna be America Chavez, Made in the USA, issue number 5. This book has just been, I think it's been my number 1 every week that it comes out. Like, every time there's a new series, it's either been like my number 1 or number 2. And I guess I could say the same for Joker as well. The sad thing about this particular book and series is I believe it ends, that this is the final issue of a 5-issue miniseries. And it's just been so good, really painting the origin of America Chavez. And it's really the origin of her Earth family and how she came to be with them. And then also, I guess it's really tied into like her other family too. So I guess you get to see everything now that I think about it, because the last couple issues have been insane in terms of who we meet and what that leads to, and really like where America Chavez stands compared to where her family member stands. And again, without trying to give too many spoilers away, it's just a really powerful story. I think it's really deep. Last issue was very emotional as well. There were some really tough decisions that were made through some of the characters from last issue. So overall, just really enjoying this. This is written by Kalinda Vasquez. The artwork, Carlos Gomez. I think that's the other half to this, where Carlos is just hitting a grand slam every time this book comes out from this series. Carlos Gomez has been, I feel like I've been following him on Instagram for a while now, and that's where I first fell in love with his work. And when I found out that he was doing the interior work for America Chavez, that was me saying, let me give this a try. I've never read America Chavez before this series, and I think that this is a perfect jump-in point for anybody who has never explored America Chavez before, as you are getting more of an origin, background story. and this is a 5-issue miniseries, so doesn't take too long at this point. I mean, I guess you could just wait for the trade if you haven't read any of it so far, but this has been a #1 book for me all throughout its time coming. So just know that that's how much I really love this series. The creators have done such a great job. Yeah, it's a home run. It really is. So that's my #1 pick of the week, America Chavez, Made in the USA, issue number 5. Man, these are all some really great books. I always say that it is the best time to be reading comics right now. Every week is a great week for comics. So these are the books that are coming out August 11th, 2021 for New Comic Book Day. If you guys like what you saw here, let me know in the comment section below. Smash that like button on your way out. Thank you all so much for the people in the chat. Again, as a reminder, make sure you are following Copy 801. He was my shout out of the week for these videos. So Copy, again, brother, appreciate you for everything you do. And it was really nice meeting you over at Terrificon. And if you guys missed that Terrificon video, that recap video, I'll put the link in the description. But again, thank you all so much for watching, hanging out here in the premiere chat. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.